How's it going, everyone? This is part 23 in our FPS tutorials, and today we're going to be making it so our zombie can actually interact with the doors in our level as well. In the last tutorial we actually made it so the player can interact with the sliding doors here, and it's all controlled by this trigger. So when the player walks into the box collider trigger, then you're able to press E and open the door. We also check for a few things as well, but for the zombie I'm going to do it a different way just so we can see a couple of different ways that we could do this. And this way is a really good way of doing it as well, in my opinion, and that's going to be having a ray fire from the zombie's eyes here and check for a door. And we're going to do it in a bit more performance saving manner, so it's not going to be checking, like, just say we were running this game at 60 frames per second. If we were just shooting a ray in the update function, it would be shooting 60 times a second, so it'd be checking for this door 60 times a second, and we're going to slow that down with a simple timer that'll make it so it only checks, once a second or something like that. So we'll go ahead and get started, and what we need to do is on the actual zombie enemy, I've actually made a script and I've called it Draw Ray, as you can see here. And on the zombie itself, I've made an empty game object called Ray Shoot Point, and this is just a completely empty game object, and that's just how it's going to be when you create it. And all I'm using this for is the transform, and this is going to be the position at which the ray shoots from the zombie to check for the door. So that's fine. If we open up the actual script, you'll see here it's quite a simple script, and we're just using a raycast hit like we've done before, and we've got the public transform for the ray shoot point. So obviously you want to drag that ray shoot point we just made into this slot, and the float ray distance here is how far we want the ray to shoot out, and I reckon about 3 meters will be fine. And then I've got the public layer mask, so we can make sure we're only checking for the door layer. And we could even use this to set this up to check for different things as well later on in the game. And then I've just got the float tick, and I've equaled that to 1. Okay, so what we're going to use this this tick for is a timer, and then in the update function we just say tick minus equals time dot delta time. So it'll start off at 1, and then it'll go down until it gets to, well, it'll just keep counting down into minuses forever if we just left it like that. But we're going to do an if statement, and we're going to check if the tick is less than or equal to 0, and if it is, we're going to reset it back to 1. So this actual if statement here won't play for another 1 second after this. And then I've just made this built-in Unity function, which is the Debug Ray, and all we need to do for this is have the shoot point position, the way we want the ray to go in the direction. So we've got the shoot point dot forward, which is on the Z axis, and then we've changed the color of the ray to red. So this is just used to actually see the ray. It's just used for debugging basically, and I'll just give you an example so you can actually see what it does. So if we actually go into the game, I'll make sure it's not maximized. If we go into the game and I go to the scene view while the game's playing, you'll be able to see that the ray is being shot out of the zombie's eye height about every second. You'll see it again there. When he kills the player, you'll see it. There you go. So it's just shooting out like that. You can see about roughly every second it's just coming out checking for a door instead of 60 times per second. Okay, so that's a more efficient way of using a raycast if you don't need it to be checking things so often. So we don't actually need that. I was just using that to show you guys how you can check what your ray is doing. And underneath this we just have the if statement, which we've used many times before. Well, we've used it at least once before, and we're doing the same thing here. We just say if physics.raycast, and then we use the shoot point.position. We're shooting the ray out forward, and this time we're actually getting some information stored in our hit variable, and it's going out 3 meters and it's checking for that door layer. So if all that happens, we're going to access the door trigger script, because we know that we're actually hitting the door layer. So what you need to do is, on the zombie enemy on the door ray script, make sure you drag the shoot point into the shoot point slot and set the layer to door. We made that layer in the last tutorial series for the sliding door. So we know we're going to be hitting something with door, and it's going to have this door trigger script on it, so we can actually access that. And then we can use these two booleans that are stored in the door trigger, which is the public bool is open and the is locked. So we can check if the actual door is open or locked, and if it isn't, then we're going to open the door, calling the open the door method right here. Okay, so it's pretty simple stuff, and yeah, it works quite effectively though. So if we go back into the game now, make sure when you've set your zombie up and things like that, you apply the changes, because you want all the zombies that spawn to have this new script on them as well set up. So if I go into the game, actually I'll just get out of the game for a second because I want to make sure it's maximized. I've also adjusted the fire rate of the pistol, which you guys can do quite easily. Here in the rate of fire we've set up, I've changed it from 0.5 to 0.2, and I've also gone to the pistol animator, and the iron sight's on. I changed the speed of the animation to 2 so that we draw the gun a bit faster, because it was a bit sluggish before and the pistol will be quite light. So anyway, let's test out and see if our zombies can now use the door. I also messed around with the health bar a little bit as well, just to make it look a little bit better. So we'll go in here and we'll trigger all these zombies. And if I shut the door, you'll see the zombies will be coming, and he'll just open the door, no problem. And that's it. So now the zombies can use doors, and in the future we can probably make it a little bit better and use that ray for other things as well. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed the video. So leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Cheers.